It was a fascinating discussion. Now, I got to admit, I was listening to myself. Hope some of you were listening to it as well. But in the previous episode, episode number 59, we talked about the future of work in churches. What is work going to look like in churches? It's based upon a blog that I wrote some few months ago, and a lot of interest in it. So I wanted to go deeper on it through this podcast, through the Church Answers podcast. So we covered 5 issues on the future of work. Now we're going to cover 5 more. If you missed those previous 5, go back to episode number 59. We release all of these at the same time, all of these episodes on 3 on a given day, a given week. So they're there for you at any time, and you can look at the future of work in churches. My name is Thom Rainer. This is the Church Answers podcast. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching on YouTube or listening on your favorite podcast app. Thank you for the reviews you give us. And for those of you who subscribe, you get the word out about this free ministry, and we're delighted to make it available for you. We also thank Belay, our sponsor. We thank Belay Solutions because they have been the solutions for Church Answers for years and years, actually since the inception of Church Answers. Church Answers actually had another name when we began using them, and Belay had another name. Now we both changed names, and we continue to work with each other. They are your digital solution, your virtual solution to workers. We've used virtual workers who've become a part of our family from Belay. You'll love them. Get their download, 25 tasks a pastor can delegate to an assistant, and look at it in the show notes, or go to belaysolutions.com/Thom Rainer. Let's look a bit more at 5 of the issues of work in the churches. I'm not going to review the first 5, but I will simply say you can go back. Our podcasts are brief. You can go back and listen or watch them as well on the previous episode. Let's start with number 6 now. Number 6, we must be prepared for the dominance of bivocational and co-vocational ministers in our church. There are going to be so few full-time staff persons, even pastors. With the median size of a church at 65 now, having decreased from 130 plus over a 20-year period, most churches are not going to be able to afford full-time staff. At most, a pastor, many of them will not be able to afford a pastor as well. That is why I mentioned in the last podcast, Church Answers University. Church Answers University is our organization that trains people that otherwise could not get ministry training. Very affordable, very attainable, accessible. And we have different tracks that you can go on. You can do so at your own pace. I want you to check that out, because the reason we created Church Answers University, quite frankly, is because of this future reality. We knew that many people would be serving in churches that would not be able to have the traditional seminary Bible college education. So go to churchanswers.university. You can see it in the show notes. Just a reminder, we said we're going to make 5 $500 scholarships available on a first come, first served basis. And if you're interested in that, write Matt, M-A-T-T, at churchanswers.com. Let him know you heard about this on the Church Answers podcast. And as long as he has one of those 5 available, he'll give it to you. The typical, the full tuition is $1,500. That takes off $500 of it, and then you can make payments if you wish, or you can pay in full, whichever you want to. But be prepared for the dominance of bivocational and co-vocational ministers. That is the future. That is one of the big futures of work in our church. If we're not looking at that, we are not seeing that big train that's coming down the tracks, because it is major. That's number 6. Number 7, it's closely related. The new future of work will require more raising up of ministry staff within our churches. So we have seen this trend grow. Now we're about to see, I'm mixing my metaphor, it become an avalanche. We are about to see this massive number of people who are going to be raised up within the church. And what that means is we know the members, we know their competency, we know their skills, we know their hearts, we know their love of Christ. And we're going to say, we want you to serve within our church. And these are going to become some of your bivocational and co-vocational ministers. That's another reason why we made Church Answers University available, is because they will need training. And this is highly affordable, accessible, and attainable. And so that's why we put that there. The new future of church will require more raising up of members. There's an area for which I don't have an answer at this point. I never have omniscience, guarantee you on that. And I never have perfect foreknowledge, I guarantee you on that. But this is one area where it is a bit murky. I'm not seeing the future clearly. We don't have enough information for me to share it with you. It's number 8. It's the enigma, the mystery of the future of work and the positions of student and children's ministry, and particularly student ministry. That has become the position that churches just simply cannot fill. Even in-house, they cannot fill it like they used to. I don't see a consistent pattern about what is going to happen to children or student ministers, or they're going to become combined and called family ministers. What's going to happen there? I just have to say it's changing, it's evolving, but to what it's evolving, I am not prepared to say because I simply don't know. But this is one of those things that is changing. I mean, it used to be the question would be, what's the order of staff that you get as your church grows? You get a pastor, you get a worship leader, you get a student leader, you get a children's minister. That's just not the case anymore. Things are changing so fast. I hope we'll have more information in the future about ministry staff being raised up within the church and about student ministry and children's ministry. Number 9, and please hear this well. Hear it clearly. Pastors and ministry staff and all leaders within the church should prepare for this new reality. You don't need to be asking the question, what is going to happen in the future? What you need to ask is, what is happening now and how will it affect my future? Some of you pastors and other staff, by financial reasons, will have to become bivocational or co-vocational. Some of you will choose to do so. I'm encouraging staff all across the nation and in many countries outside of the United States. I am encouraging them to be prepared for the possibility that churches can no longer support full-time staff with salaries and benefits. It may affect your position. Don't take that necessarily as a threat as much as it is an opportunity. We have had people who were full-time in the church that then go co-vocational, which means they decide to do so, not because they're financially forced to do so, or bivocational, which is usually a financial reality. And they tell us one of the best things that's happened to them. They've had more opportunities to share their faith. They've had more opportunities to minister to others. A few of them say, it's too much of a burden to go bivocational. Well, that's really looking at the glass half empty instead of half full. Most of them indicate it has been a great opportunity. Certainly, you have to learn how to, and your church has to learn how to have a part-time instead of a full-time. Too many churches are still trying to pay part-time and get full-time hours. That has to change, but it is an incredible opportunity. Finally, and we could dive into so many of these, but finally, number 10, technology will continue to change the work of pastoral care. This isn't bad news, but we're hearing from more and more pastors and those who do pastoral ministry that church members are open to a call, a text, or perhaps even a Zoom or video call in lieu of going to see them personally when there's a physical need or some type of pastoral care need. This is an efficiency. It doesn't mean that the personal touch should go away, but it means that it is going away sometimes because the church member actually prefers that. Well, let me encourage you to go back to the previous episode where we talked about this whole future reality of work. And if you did not get the first 5, go back and listen or watch that and focus on these things. This is a future that is happening very rapidly and is something we want you to be prepared for in your church and in your life. As always, thank you for listening to the Church Answers podcast at YouTube. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your ratings, your reviews, subscriptions, whatever you are able to do to get the word out about the Church Answers podcast. And we will see you in the next episode, along with our favorite and only sponsor, Belay Solutions. We'll see you then. Hey, folks, this is a PS to our podcast. We got some exciting stuff that we want to offer you absolutely for free. Sam, when you think about predictive factors in a church's growth, if you take out demographics, what are some things that come to mind? Just two. I mean, don't give me a list of 10. Just two or three things that come to mind on predictive growth of a church.
Well, evangelism and whether the church is doing it or not.
Bingo.
And then I will add, is it an ongoing evangelism emphasis?
Double
as
bingo.
well?
Double, and maybe something about leadership and their commitment to that. So all of the above.
Evangelistic churches have evangelistic pastors. Is the staff, is the lead pastor doing the work themselves?
We have a free download for you, and it's actually a sheet that you can self-score. You answer 20 questions, anywhere from strongly disagree to strongly agree, and we come back and we predict what your growth rate is going to be for the next year in worship attendance. It's not a perfect tool, but it's a good tool. There's a link to that for the attendance predictor. Look in the show notes. You'll absolutely love it. That's cool. We'll see you soon.